What are dreams? I mean, dreams are a series of thoughts and sensations that occur in a person's mind when they sleep. But it's much more than that, isn't it? We all have dreams. We all have them every single night. In fact, we have between 4 to 6 dreams every night. All of us. And you dream longer as the night goes on. The dreams towards the end of the night, the early morning, for example, can be about 34 minutes long towards the end of a dream, of a sleep pattern, and they're about 5 minutes early in the night. So if you were to add it all up, I mean, we have supposing you had 8 hours sleep in a night, 2 hours of those are dreaming. So they're obviously an important part of our life experience, aren't they? And they deserve to be investigated and understood. Now, we forget about 95% of our dreams. So that's why some people think they don't dream at all. But actually, if you really worked on it, you would start remembering your dreams. If, for example, you wrote them down and things like this to help trigger a recall. So we all dream. But what are they? Okay, so in this video, I'm looking at 2 aspects. First, I'm going to look at the psychological explanation about what dreams are. And then I'm going to look also at the kind of the mystical explanation about dreams, so we can get some understanding of the 2 sides of the argument about what is meaningful about dreams. We're now going to look at what psychologists say that dreams are. What amazing things they are, first of all, aren't they? What an incredible experience dreams are. They involve all the senses. We see incredible things. We have amazing colours, amazing landscapes, meet strange people, and all those strange, surreal things that we encounter in dreams. What amazing place the consciousness is. But you know, some psychologists say that dreams have no purpose whatsoever. They think they're just meaningless junk. Others say that they're essential to mental health. I mean, one theory is that dreams are there to help process memory. They used to believe that it processed the memory between the short-term and long-term memory. And that dreams are a byproduct of all this processing going on in the background of our, sort of say, our biological computer that we live in. So dreams, they say, also could be a way to help the emotions cool down. Actually, the ancient Greeks used to believe something like this, as well as some of their ideas about dreams. That if we didn't dream, we kind of overheat. So it's part of the sleeping process of taking all that emotional content from the day and processing it, so that when we wake up in the morning, we feel at ease with ourselves. Others say that dreams, again, following this idea that they have no purpose, is that they're purely images and things that are there to are triggered by external sounds and events. So if somebody's snoring, that might create an impression. If there's a noise outside, it might create an impression. In fact, Freud used to believe that one of the functions of dream was to maintain sleep, to help us stay asleep. And this kind of plays into that idea that dreams are there to keep us from waking up. So the basic idea is, the psychologist's idea is, it's kind of like the brain's like a computer that's trying to clear all its clutter during the night. And it may be doing something in the actual practical aspect of the brain itself on a deep cellular level. It might be helping to build connections between different thoughts and different emotions and help us associate ideas and kind of pull the whole day's experience together to give us a kind of an overview. But you know, but there's a lot of flaws in some of those things, I have to say, as well, because you know, dreams are not this sort of clear processing. They're very chaotic and strange, aren't they? And they do have a kind of a narrative and a story. And that's why I want to go on to the next part of this, because although dreams may be doing something more, they may be problem solving, as Freud and Carl Jung used to think. So let's now look at kind of the mystical aspects of dreams and kind of bring in some of these other psychological ideas at the same time. Now, all that strange stuff that you see in dreams, of course, people have been seeing throughout history. And the ancients, particularly the ancient Greeks and the ancient Egyptians in Western society, believed that the dreams that we had were supernatural communications from the gods, you know, and sometimes these things could have messages and could give us guidance and auguries for the future. Also, the Greeks believed that dreams contained puns, so that they could be decoded, and were very close to the ideas that came later about the ideas that dreams are a symbolic representation of what's happening in the human psychology. Now, of course, this was all taken up by Freud. Now, he would not have called himself a mystic, but in many ways, modern psychology would probably class him that way. He looked at dreams and saw them as a way that the mind was repressing wishes. So he started to look into the idea that dreams could be used as a means of unlocking what he called the unconscious mind, of all the repressed stuff that people have pushed outside of their waking lives. So it was a way to come to more greater psychological wholeness in many ways. Now, Freud was dealing with things. He saw dreams in terms of sexuality mainly, and came up with terms like condensation, displacement, visualization, symbolism as the aspects of unlocking a dream. But Freud started a whole process off here, and I think much of his work would now be dismissed. But it was taken up by another man called Carl Jung. And he had a much more mystical inclination in his nature. He could only express it much, much later in his later books, such as Memories, Dreams, Reflections, in which he wrote about his autobiography, and much of which was written on his deathbed. And it's a fantastic book that I really suggest you could read that one, actually. But he basically decided that in the mind there were these things called archetypes. They were sort of like representations of sort of eternal values, I suppose I'd like to call them, aspects of the human psyche that went from age to age over many centuries, and that connected us to our deepest parts of our psychology. And in this took us into the collective unconscious, where the collective experiences of mankind were locked. So when we went into these places and we understood the language of dreams, we could understand that dreams were therefore a process of becoming, a process of awakening, a process of coming to understand ourselves, both the good side of ourselves and the dark side of ourselves, and bringing all these opposites together so that we could become whole human beings. So what happens in dreams? Is that dreams begin as part of the awakening of consciousness, which is very far away from those dismissive psychological ideas that say that they're just brain processing. Jung was one of the first to have the courage to say that dreams are something else. Dreams are something to do with an eternal man, and also connected us with the very ancient part of ourselves, what he called the archaic man. And so dreams had a fantastically important part to play in our spiritual development. Now, there's another aspect, because these are all kind of still locked within the idea of the psychological subconscious processing of dreams that are telling all us about ourselves and our relationship to the world. But some of the mystics talk about the superconscious dreams that take us into the other realm of consciousness. Now, we may think here in terms of perhaps asking the questions about what is reality, because reality, they say, is a dream, and that one day when we pass into the next world, perhaps into the spirit world, we will partly wake up from that illusion of Maya, of the dance of that's keeping us hypnotized in this world, as it were, and thinking that the external material reality is the real thing. It's not. So this idea that we can have a super conscious dream, that we can enter sometimes into another aspect of reality, what we would call the astral worlds, and beyond that the causal worlds, that the mind is capable in a dream of kind of waking up. We get this when we talk about lucid dreams, when we wake up in a dream and we become the director of a film that controls the process of what's going to go on. So we start to control our dreams. But there's even more beyond that. There's this idea of being able to awaken in dreams. And many of the mystics talk about being able to enter the state of what they call samadhi within a dream, a state of higher consciousness, a state of absolute awakening, of being aware of the eternal self that lies behind this smaller ego that is talking now, that there is a absolute behind things, and that dreams themselves can become a form of meditation that will take us into these exalted states of consciousness. So there we have it. Dreams are many ways of understanding what are dreams. Dreams, on the one level, the psychologists will say a load of rubbish. They may be the brain processing. They may be subconscious stories, allegories, and things that represent our emotions and feelings in life that we can interpret and understand our lives. They can become a fantastic source of creativity because of that, and a way of solving problems. And yet, there may be even more things behind this still. The idea of that we can enter like a superconscious state. In fact, some mystics say to avoid the subconscious dreams and aim always to those superconscious dreams where we understand the nature of our reality. Well, I hope you enjoyed that very brief introduction to dreams and what they mean. If you'd like to know more, I've written a number of books about this. I've written a bestseller called The Hidden Meaning of Dreams, which is a dream dictionary. But if you really want to go deep, I suggest you read my dream trilogy. Now, it's divided into 3 books. The first one is called Lucid Dreaming and Recall. And I look into this idea of waking up in dreams. And in particular, I talk particularly here about how to remember dreams. Because like I said in the beginning, 95% of our dreams are forgotten. So if we can learn to recall dreams, we stand a good chance of starting to work spiritually with dreams. And then my other book in the trilogy is called Meanings of Dreams and Fantasies. And I look this time into the whole concept, or much more on the psychological side of dreams and what they mean. How we can interpret dreams to understand what's happening in our lives. And also I look into the idea of daytime fantasy too. How dreams kind of impress themselves in our waking life and sometimes can influence us. So we want to learn to wake up, to become self-aware. So that book talks much more about that. And finally, I've written a book called Mystical Dream Interpretation. That's part of the same trilogy. And this talks about the mystical meaning of dreams, but also I get very more involved in the idea of the psychic side of dreams. How we can see the future in dreams. And I quote a lot of cases in there about famous cases about people that have seen the future and been able to prove it through dreams. And perhaps if you watch my videos about predictions and so forth, you'll understand that a lot of that comes through my dream work. So if you're interested in the subject, and dreams are a huge subject, and as you've heard, there's many different ways of approaching it, I do hope you'll go out and buy my dream trilogy, and you can get it on Amazon, and the links will be in the comments below, in the description below, and on the little cards that come across at the top. So thanks for watching this video. I'll make a few more on dreams later on, so do follow this channel and click that little bell thing at the bottom there, because that'll give you updates when anything new comes online. And it's not always about dreams, this channel covers all sorts of paranormal stuff, and I do love to get your comments and your suggestions below in the comments, because I'll always pick up your ideas and introduce those as new videos later on. So thanks for watching, and see you again soon. Bye for now.